Yeah, hi kids. Me, the Red Panther, down in the Bat Cave, the Man Cave, and talking to Kevin Hickey. This is part two. We were just talking about the 82nd Airborne and him becoming a policeman after that. But let's go back. Whoops. There he is, kids. Manson 6'9", one of the original Zenvikings. Okay, we were talking about the 82nd Airborne.
Yep.
And there was a couple of things I forgot. Number one, and I remember this in the news, some nutty guy
Yep.
gets himself a rifle
From the armory.
from the armory, goes into the woods,
Yeah, it was
tree line.
Yeah, it was our brigade run, and the whole brigade was It was a kind of a fishbowl soccer field, and we did our brigade formation, but right behind where the formation was nothing but woods, and we were standing down there, and then we started hearing gunfire, and we thought, nothing big, and then people started dropping, and we
Because you're always hearing gunfire.
Yeah.
Probably on an army base.
Yeah. So a couple people dropped, and that's when everyone was like, oh shit, this is the real deal. And everyone took off running. And some Green Berets were running by the woods and saw the guy, tackled him, and took him down.
They just happen to be running.
Yeah, just doing their PT. Yep.
Wow. Here you are in an army. And this happens again at Fort Hood when
Yeah.
that crazy psychiatrist shot all those troopers. And did those guys die?
I think the only one that died was our brigade, like S3 or S4 guy or whatever.
Huh. Do you think he targeted
No, he was just pissed. He was just
individuals?
shooting. No.
No. Whoever he get hit.
Yep.
He was crazy. He had it. He was pissed off. Did people talk about him afterwards? Andy Scuttlebutt?
Yeah, just nothing. I don't remember exactly what, but
Just that he was wacky.
well,
And unfortunately, that's kind of one of the things that may have changed the rules about. I don't know. I think soldiers should be able to have guns on a base, but that's just my opinion. They're like a personal sidearm. It's kind of ironic that that's what you're trained to do and you can't have them.
they don't trust you with them.
Yeah, and in Iraq, of course, in my own personal experience, 24/7. You got we had M16s, loaded, sometimes cocked and locked, and and nobody. First of all, nobody got hurt. Nobody had an accidental discharge, and we're talking people that are college students that became medics, and they're not exactly hard chargers, but we're very careful, but you can't have a gun in an army base. Oh well, that's another story. Now, what else happened when you were there? Something.
There was a plane crash, and the weird story about this is there's a place called Green Ramp, and that's where the planes basically back up onto this field, open their cargo doors so all the paratroopers can get on. But Green Ramp's where you get all parachuted up, and then you sit in these big long line sticks waiting for the aircraft to become ready to go on. So sometimes you'll be sitting there for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours in full parachute gear, combat gear, everything, and you can't move. Well, we were supposed to jump that day, and something happened out in the field, because we were out in the field and they were going to bring us in for this jump. But something happened out in the field for whatever reason, and we did not go to Green Ramp to jump that day. Well, I remember sitting in my foxhole, because I was a 60 gunner, and I see all this black smoke and sirens, and I'm like, oh shit, something big happened. And come to find out, the captain comes and pulls us all in and tells us, he goes, it's everybody's lucky day, because I don't remember what unit. I think it was the 504. I don't know, one of the other airborne regiments jumped in our place, and they were all laid out on green ramp waiting for the aircraft, and a F-16 crashes into a C-141 and spills jet fuel and kills all kinds of guys where we were supposed to be sitting.
Well, let's back up just a hair, just for civilians. An F-16 is a fighter plane.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. And the other one is more like a transport.
Yep, just a cargo plane.
And where people jump out of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the F-16 was coming in for a landing.
I don't know exactly what happened, but it crashed right into it.
Wow. And you would have been there.
Yep, I think 20, 25, 30 guys died.
Wow. And that's just on an army base in America. That's how dangerous it can be to be in the infantry. Just the training sometimes kills people.
Oh yeah.
Any other incidents that come to your mind when you were in the 82nd?
No.
That didn't one of your friends dress up like a woman and pretend he was a hooker in Raleigh and you beat up some sailors? No, I don't. Just kidding. Just kidding, kids. So there's two. Oh boy, we can. I could jump around here, and we'll get into it. I hope eventually, but so there's 2 times you cheated death.
Well, you might as well just go with the third.
Well, yeah.
Well, I mean
Yeah. Well,
I got hundreds of.
there are more, but oh yeah, we haven't even get into the cop stuff. But let's go to one of the big ones. You cheat death 3 times in the 82nd. Recently, this year.
Yeah, in March.
This year in March, you're coming back from the north. I can't remember
Philadelphia.
where you were. Philadelphia. And it was some kind of job you were doing up there, and you were with 2 guys.
Yeah, I was just helping a buddy out. He just asked me. He does advertising. He was short a guy. I was off work, and I said, yeah, I'll help you out.
So up to Philadelphia you go.
Yep. Great city, by the way.
You do your thing, and you're coming back.
Yep.
In a van.
Yep, a rental van.
A rental van. You're with 2 other guys. I don't know. Would it be appropriate to mention their names or not?
Nah, we're not going to mention.
Okay, we won't mention their names. But you're with 2 guys. You're coming back on the freeway.
Yep. Well, the 2 guys are related. They're, I think, uncle and nephew or something. Anyways.
They were related.
They were related.
Guys you didn't really know.
I'd known them for 2 weeks.
Oh, kind of knew them a little bit.
Yeah.
So you're coming back on a freeway and you're heading south.
Yep, we're going southbound on I-95, and I drove for maybe 2 or 3 hours, and we switched drivers at a rest area, and I said, I can still drive, it's no big deal, and the other guy said, no, I'll drive, you've been driving long enough, so I said, okay.
Okay, so you're in the passenger seat.
Passenger seat.
Guy in the back.
Guy in the back,
Guy
the
driving.
driver, and the guy driving.
And okay, so you're heading south.
Well, and then we stop off at a gas station, and I tell him again I can drive, and he goes, no, I'm all good. So I go in and I get some Dolly Madison
donuts,
nut crumbled donuts. You know, the donuts with the nuts all over them, and
okay.
Yep. So I got a 6-pack of those, and I was eating them.
And you didn't rob the gas station?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's so you get your Dolly Madison donuts.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I think it was like 2:30 in the morning.
You guys jump in the van. It's 2:30 in the morning. You're heading south.
And the driver, his uncle is on the phone, on speakerphone with us, and the guy that's in the back seat, his brother is on the phone, the speakerphone.
Oh, you got.
So
there's this family communication thing going on.
Yeah, they're all related, brother, uncle, and the guy that we were on the phone with, he was the boss for this advertising job. So he's an hour ahead of us on the same interstate. And he was going to pull over and meet us in D.C. But for whatever reason, that didn't happen.
So these guys are on the phone. And didn't you tell me a couple of people called one of the guys out of the blue?
The driver, when I was driving, he received over a dozen phone calls from girls that he dated in high school, and he was probably 35 now, and he's a medical doctor, just graduated. So he was helping out his relative on this job. Just graduated from medical school in Chicago. So all these people, at least a dozen people, call this guy, and he looks at me while I'm driving. He goes, "Kevin, why are all these frickin' people calling me and asking if I'm okay?" Because apparently they all asked if he was okay. So I said, "Oh, I have no idea," and just kind of wrote it off.
So more than a couple.
Yeah, his mom, his dad, his couple other family members, a bunch of friends, people he hadn't talked to in 20, 25 years.
Out of the blue.
Just out of the blue.
"Hey, how you doing? How's it going?"
Well, one girl he's talking to, and he goes, I don't mean to be rude, but who are you?" Apparently he went to high school with her and dated her a little bit right after high school.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for the wow. But so it's 2:30 in the morning.
Yep.
You're heading south, and it's dark.
Yep.
What happens?
Well, I'm leaned back. I'm in the front passenger seat, and I'm leaned back because I'd been sleeping. And I was leaned back, I don't know, reclined in the chair.
Let's be a little technical. You had adjusted the chair, the seat, and you were a couple of degrees
Back.
lower.
Yes,
down.
than everybody else.
Okay.
So we're driving, and the driver's got the phone kind of in his right hand, so we can all talk, because we're all talking to his uncle. And I was eating my donut, and all I heard was, "Oh shit," and that was it. And when he was saying, "Oh shit," I look up, and I see a bottom of a car flying through the air and hits ours kind of sideways and shears the entire top of the car all the way back clean off. And then we roll into the trees, and I remember the impact, and then having the right sense of mind going, "Oh shit, we're going into the trees." So I put my hands up and, to protect myself, and we hit the trees, and as soon as the car stopped rolling, I did the old, I'm going to check myself out, and I do the old, and I had this huge knot. I mean, it was huge on the top of my head, and I'm wiggling my toes, and I'm doing the old check, make sure I got all my body parts, and I look over, and the two guys that were with me, they're cut in half from probably, I don't know, the nipple line. I mean, completely sheared off. And I look over at them, and I jump out, and excuse my language, but I screamed as loud as I can, "I'm motherfucking alive." And I said that probably 10 or 15 times. And I look back, and I look back in the car, and I was like, "Sorry guys, but better you guys than me." And but right after it happened, it was really, really strange, because I've been in accidents before where you just kind of freak out a little bit and you don't know what's going on. But I remember a calmness coming over me right after the accident. I mean, I was still in the seat, and I don't know if it was minutes or seconds, but I just felt this calmness of everything's gonna be cool, everything's all right. It was really, really strange. Never felt anything like that in my life. And I don't go to church, and I'm not real religious. I believe in all that, but I'm just not into it. It was really strange, the feeling.
What is your car, your van, upright?
Yeah.
And
the car that hit us flipped and ejected everybody.
So there's people laying
Yeah.
in the road.
Yep.
And there's a tree line there. It's kind of wooded.
Yep.
Many people coming by.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was debris and bodies. I mean, all over the place. But some cars.
They got to stop.
Well, some cars just swerved around it and kept on trucking.
Wow.
Yeah. Finally.
You're on your feet.
Yeah, I'm walking around, And I'm walking, and I drag a couple of the kids out of the road because they're laying in the road. They got ejected. There was 3 kids that got ejected.
Okay, wait a minute, let's back up. This is another SUV.
It was a Chevy Avalanche.
Okay, and there a woman was driving. And she got family.
She was the grandmother. Her daughter was the passenger, and her 3 grandkids were in the back seat.
Wow. And none of them died.
2 of the kids died. Yeah.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Man, you bring their bodies off the highway.
Right.
And eventually, are people stopping?
Yeah, a couple people stopped, and they were more freaked out than I was. It was a black couple.
Yeah.
And they saw everything that was laying around, and they were just, oh, Jesus, Lord, oh my God. I mean, just praying and going crazy. And finally a truck driver stops, and he starts walking towards the van that I was in, and I said, hey, brother. I said, don't even worry about it. I said, they're dead. And he decides he's going to walk down there anyways. Well, he comes back, and he's ghost white, and I said, I told you. I told you not to go down there.
Wow.
And, yeah, he was in complete shock. So
Eventually somebody calls.
yeah, it was about 10 minutes into it.
Man.
Yep.
Do you think were those kids conscious when you pulled them off?
One was, the other 2 weren't. They were.
weren't.
It was pretty clear.
Huh.
Yep.
And any did you have any contact with any of those people afterwards? I mean,
Well, actually, the
coming days.
No, but the driver and one of the little girls, she was 9. They rode in the ambulance with me because they wanted to fly me out on the life flight because of the severity of the accident. And I said, you're fucking crazy. I said, I'm not getting on a helicopter. I said, you take care of these kids first, and everybody else. I said, I said, I got a hurdy bump and my finger hurts. I said, I'm fine. So I argued with the paramedics, and finally they put me on the ambulance with the driver, who's the grandmother, and the 9-year-old. And the grandmother, she's completely conscious, but she's in complete and utter shock. So the little girl, she's kind of in shock. And so I'm shooting the shit with the little girl, just, trying to making jokes and trying to keep her mind off things. And so she's in once we get to the hospital, we pull up and I walk out of the ambulance because everybody else is on a stretcher. And the doctors and nurses are all waiting, and they take those 2, and another group comes in, and I'm walking through the doors, and they're like, where's the other patient? And the paramedic goes, it's this asshole right here who refuses to get on a backboard. So they bring me in, and they insist something's wrong with me because of the severity of the accident.
Sure.
And I said, well, do your test, but I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with me. And at the end of it, I had a hairline fracture on the tip of my finger. That was it.
Wow. Anybody interview you or anything like that? News station?
No, but the trooper came in that was working the accident. He was a sergeant. He walked in and interviewed me, and as he's leaving, he goes, Mr. Hickey, he goes, I've been doing this a long time, and I've never seen anybody walk out of an accident like yours. He goes, you better go play the lottery.
Did you?
No.
Oh. I know some people, I think is it North Carolina?
Yeah.
That said they saw that on the news.
Yeah, it was on the news.
Well, Josh Nash, I think, if I remember right. Wow. I guess, is it fair to say that something like that changes your life, or?
Well, yeah, of course, it's going to change your life, but like I said, and I'm not trying to be cruel or insensitive, but when it comes down to it, Johnny, it's better you than me. I mean, I hate to say it.
Sure.
Would I give my life up for somebody? Yeah, well, absolutely. But a car accident, I don't know why I'm alive. Only God knows.
But here you are.
But here I am, and I've got my kids, and I wouldn't trade places with any of those other people.
Well, that was maybe not number three, but certainly uh, one of three big ones where people died around you and you dodged the bullet.
Dodged the bullet.
And which is sort of amazing too, because you spent how many years as a policeman?
15.
15 years as a cop, and that in itself, every second, every day is a potential bullet, or not, maybe not a bullet, but certainly crazy stuff happens to cops.
Oh yeah.
You become a policeman in the Titusville Police Department.
Right. Not only I worked the road, which means answer calls for service, domestics and stolen bikes. I did that for 8 months, and then I went right into the street crimes unit, where we did prostitution things, drugs things, problem areas, stuff like that. I did that for 3 years, and then right after that I went straight into the canine unit, which I rode out until my last year when I was a supervisor. So most of my time was spent as a canine or either on the SWAT team.
And you eventually trained people for SWAT.
Yes.
SWAT really seems to have evolved. Now we see down in Missouri a bunch of cops with M16s and armored vehicles. Is that what we can look for in the future for police departments?
Oh, yeah.
They're going to get that stuff.
Yep.
Well, without getting in any kind of, I don't want to get you in legal trouble here, but can you talk about one or two SWAT episodes?
Oh, sure.
You're breaking down the door.
Well, yeah. I mean, geez, I probably have done over about 200 search warrants.
Like on TV, where some guy's got this big
Ram, and
he rams the door, and in you go.
Yep. Depends on the door. Sometimes we used chains on cars to pull the doors off, or whatever.
Did you ever just open the door?
Yeah, actually, there was a case where it was a screen door.
Oh.
And the other door was already open, and the first guy goes to turn the knob, and he goes, "It's locked." And the guy behind him goes, "Punch your hand through the screen, jackass." And then opened the door, and we went in.
And then you went.
Yeah.
Sometimes these guys had guns or access to guns.
Yeah.
Yep. And let me back up on one of the first things that happened, or you saw, if I remember. You guys are in a squad car and you get a call, and there's a guy at the 7-Eleven. Tell me that story real quick.
Just a guy off his meds, going crazy, naked, with a knife, threatening to cut his willy off, and he's pacing back and forth, and we'd just gotten the tasers at the time, so we just, instead of approaching him or shooting the guy, because there was no need to shoot him, he was going to hurt himself, so we just tased him and wrapped him up, got him back on his meds.
And it strikes me as pretty kind of amazing. You're not a young guy. You're a grown man with a wife and kid, but you're a new cop, and welcome to police world.
Yep.
There's a naked guy with his penis in his hand, one hand, and a knife in the other. Don't come near me or I'll cut him off. That's.
I was like, what did I get myself into?
And you also did undercover drug buy kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't majority of my work, but we did.
Occasionally?
Did, yeah.
Well, when you think of Titusville, Florida, I kind of also think of Orlando, and I think of Kennedy Space Centers right there. you might not think of crime so much, but actually, there was a lot of crime.
It's riddled with crime, but the crime was, if you're not a doper, if you don't sell drugs or use drugs or in that environment, usually you don't have anything to worry about, because all the home invasions and rapes and murders, everything was drug related.
So,
if you're an honest working guy, you got nothing to worry about except for some kids lifting the handle on your door and stealing the change.
So that's kind of the dirty little secret.
Yep.
Drugs, bad deal.
Yep.
Coming up and down the coast, I imagine.
Yep.
Too. And well, without being extremely scientific about it, heroin, worst, cocaine, what was the crank?
No, cocaine's got such a hold down there because, we're 2.5, 3 hours from Miami, and cocaine's got such a hold, and marijuana, but heroin or meth, only seen it a few times.
But definitely cocaine was a big deal.
Yep.
Selling their souls.
Well, yeah, it was a big deal except for the last 5 years. Then prescription pills just wiped everything out.
Really?
Yeah.
You're certainly on that side of the fence, but you grew up, I'm sure, seeing kids smoke pot and whatever. How do you feel about the legalization of marijuana, for instance, in Colorado?
Good for them.
Would you be opposed if it came to Florida?
No.
So
and my reasoning being, a former law enforcement officer for 15 years, my main job was to get drugs off the street, which I did, and I did a good job of it. But I also went to a lot of domestics, a lot of batteries, where kids and women had the shit knocked out of them by the drunk husband or boyfriend. But I've never been on a call where someone was stoned and beaten up on their family. Now, I've seen it where the wife's beat up the husband because he's too stoned to get up and do any chores, but no.
Or he might have been angry because somebody ate his Dollar Madison donuts.
Nope, never saw anything violent.
Or his Twinkies.
Yep.
Or who took his Apocalypse Now DVD.
I mean, I've seen murders as a result of marijuana because of the sale of, because it's illegal.
The business of it.
Yeah, the business side of it, but that's about it.
I'm going to jump around a little bit. I think I know the answer, but like Iowa, Florida has a concealed weapons law, and certainly one is one of the leaders in the country.
Yes.
How's that worked out?
Great.
No big problems.
No, actually, I help teach the course once a month
for concealed weapons.
Yes.
And most of the people are being cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I just remember from the news, I don't know if this is baloney or not, but they talked about how, I think it was Miami, where tourists were getting robbed or whatever. And
yeah, that was way back in the day, back in the late 80s, early 90s.
And there was home invasions, but after they passed that law, that kind of crime went down. I don't know, is it?
Well, I've never seen a actual home invasion that wasn't drug related. I've never seen a home invasion where a guy's like, I was just sitting watching TV and someone broke in and stole all my shit.
They're after stuff to get drugs.
Yeah, usually it's somebody broke in and held us at gunpoint and took my safe. Well,
really?
What was in your safe? Just paperwork. So.
Not cocaine?
Yeah, no, that's usually, the cookie cutter story.
I see. And you spent the last part of your time as a policeman as a canine cop.
Mm-hmm. Well, 12 years of it.
12 years. How many dogs do you go through?
I went through 3.
3 dogs. And I mean, obviously, you're pretty close to those dogs. And they live with you.
Yep.
And they're around your kids.
Yep.
And
they're family.
Never, had a problem. I'm guessing they all German Shepherds.
I had one German Shepherd, and the rest were Belgian Malinois.
Oh, really? Say that again.
Belgian Malinois.
Huh. I'm not familiar with those. But I want one right now. No. And you not only were you a canine cop, but you trained people to be canine cops.
Yeah, I went all over. Well, I did that, and then I went all over the country for DEA and USDOT, teaching commercial motor vehicle enforcement. I worked the borders.
Were you kind of like doing both, teaching the agents and the dogs, or the people that would have dogs?
The people that had the dogs.
Teaching them about dogs.
Yep.
Being a canine guy or whatever.
That and just a lot of my experience and what to look for with catching bad guys in cars.
So I would imagine you are real positive about that whole canine thing.
Yeah, if it's done right, absolutely.
They're here to stay.
Yeah.
Did you get into the drug sniffing?
Yes.
And the bomb sniffing part of it?
Yep. I never did explosive detection with a dog. With the police department, I always did that as a side job.
That was another thing.
Yeah, when I worked for Disney Cruise Lines. Oh, hold on.
Hey kids, we'll get right back. Kevin's got a phone call. It's going to be the president.